Hello, everyone, and welcome to this pre-conference session of AAC in the Cloud. We're excited to have you here. Today we have with us Naomi Evans, and she is from Talk to Me Technologies. Her topic today is tips for helping parents thrive with AAC in the home, and we will turn things over to her.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. All right, I am going to share my screen with you all. And yeah, what I hope to do today is just give you all some practical tips that you can share with parents, and maybe some of you are parents who are joining us here. And so I hope that you can take away some little nuggets of helpful tips. I have been fortunate to implement AAC in my own home, and so I get to wear many hats. I wear the hat of a speech pathologist. I wear the hat of AAC consultant with Talk to Me Technologies, and then I am also a mom of a sweet little 4-year-old who has used AAC in the past. So I remember feeling incredibly overwhelmed by the whole process and the whole concept, and I do this for a living. So, you know, giving some tips to parents who maybe don't do this for a living and kind of the real world experience is what I hope to share with you today. So a little bit about Talk to Me Technologies. We have a wide array of services and devices and vocabulary sets, and we really pride ourselves on helping with the whole package. You know, our goal is not just to send you a device for it to sit on a shelf. We want to help with that initial evaluation and consultation and the feature matching, make sure you get the right fit. We offer trial periods, and those are free trial periods for both evaluation centers, clinics, schools, and clients themselves. We love to personalize the devices for you, take a little weight off of your plate as far as personalizing and that goes. And then there's, of course, the funding support, working with your insurance directly, and then the training upon device delivery, making sure you feel comfortable utilizing the device, editing the vocabulary, modeling, all of that good stuff. All of our devices have a real robust warranty as well. So we all, I'm sure, kind of have an idea of what is AAC. Basically, it's any device, system, or method that improves the ability of a client to communicate. So low tech, high tech, mid tech, all kinds of options when we talk about AAC. And at Talk to Me Technologies, we manufacture and distribute high tech AAC. So these would be your voice output devices that come with that full warranty, technical support, training support, and the funding support. We have kind of two systems, if you will. One is the WeGo system and one is the Zuvo system. So we'll talk a little bit about those. These would be examples of the WeGo devices. We have got a WeGo 5A, 7A, 10A, and 13A. Those numbers just simply refer to the screen size. So roughly your WeGo 5A would be similar to the size of a cell phone. And your WeGo 10A would be similar to the size of an iPad, and etc. You can see here that we offer many different vocabulary options on our WeGo devices. These diagrams and pictures here are showing you some cough drop options that can be on the WeGos. Each WeGo comes with the nice flexible kickstand. That kickstand is really handy, so I'll show you my daughter's device here and her kickstand. You know, it bends down nicely to act as the kickstand on the table, but then also a carrying handle. So they're pretty handy, lightweight, portable. Some personalization options. We can change the skin design on the back of the device so it's something that is personal to you as a client or to your child. You can certainly get in touch with me. I believe my contact info will be at the end of the presentation. And so if you have questions about personalizing or the different vocabulary options that are offered, we can certainly chat through that. There's so many, and we can't possibly go through them now, or we would never ever get done. So we'll bounce through that. The WeGo Right is another neat device. This has a built-in keyboard with it and some smart keys on that keyboard. So the smart keys allow you to perform functions like going into your categories, and one of the keys opens up some gestures and like a cough and a laugh and a kiss and some of those things that you might not be able to do if, say, you've had a total laryngectomy, for example. And then the Zuvo line of devices, and those come in 3 different sizes: Zuvo 10, Zuvo 12, and Zuvo 18. They just operate on a different platform, different operating system. A little bit smarter operating system. So some really unique features about the Zuvos would be a really robust scanning package. So the ability to perform different scanning modes and functions for switch use is really robust in the Zuvo devices. There's also auditory fishing, so you can slide your finger across the screen if you can't see what you're looking at, and it will tell you where your finger is at. And then when you pull your finger off, it's going to project that voice out. And then, of course, the eye gaze is another access method. That's an option on our Zuvo line. The iSpeak Ally is a new eye gaze system, actually, that is all integrated. The camera is an integrated camera. It's got a built-in environmental control unit on the back, and it's got a flexible kickstand, so you don't even have to have it mounted necessarily to use that eye gaze system. So kind of a nice, handy, portable little feature of the iSpeak Ally. All right, so now I'm gonna switch hats, take off the Talk to Me Technologies hat a little bit here, and share with you a little bit about our journey and our AAC journey at our house. So this would be Leah, and Leah is a spunky little child who, you know, right away from the beginning, I don't know how to describe her, but she was kind of a quiet baby. She didn't babble much. She was pretty content to sit around and just watch. She was quiet. And so I kind of had some red flags, you know, early on when the babbling wasn't coming, and there weren't those first words, and some other gross motor things and fine motor things and cognitive things. And so she's been involved in early intervention really early, about as early as they let you, without a definitive diagnosis. So yeah, here is our story, and I hope you get some practical tips for how you can implement this in your homes. So our high-tech AAC journey officially began in November of 2018, and Leah was just turning 3 years old at that time. Her consistent verbal production was gaga. So she was 3 years old, and we had gaga. Once in a while, she could say mama. Once in a while, she could say or uh-oh, depending on the vowel, but it was usually distorted and not super clear. She was interesting. It was really unique, though, because there's some, suspected apraxia of speech, and she would have these little bursts of, she'd get a word like dog. One day I think it was probably the summer of 2017, she just said dog, and she points at one of our dogs, and we were all excited, like, wow, it's gonna come, and then it disappeared. Never heard dog again. One day in the summer of 2018, I think it was, she said, hi, Daddy. And, you know, both Mike and I look at each other just stunned. And she never said it again. So hi, Daddy was there, and hi, Daddy was gone as fast as it came. But gaga, that was our consistent gaga stuck. So that was hard. You know, I'm a speech therapist by background, and it was tricky to feel like you've got this child in a real language rich environment, and we've got gaga. It was tough for mom to process, I think, and tough for Leah, because gaga was hard for everyone to understand what she meant. So we did a lot of low-tech stuff. We had pictures all over the house, pictures of the graham cracker in the water in the shoes, and we tried some sign language. Her motor planning from head to toe is really tough. So for her to sign, also very tricky. her signs needed to be interpreted for someone, an unfamiliar listener, to know what that attempted sign meant. It was hard for her to make the appropriate or correct sign for things. And what else did we try? We tried voice output apps on the iPad and kind of explored with our home iPad in some of those ways. And of course, that's what she was most interested in. She never was a kid that did PECs. We kind of just, and maybe it was because of what I did for a living, but I just kind of said, we did lots of pictures, but we didn't officially go through the PECs protocol. And so we kind of just tried lots of things. And in November of 2018, or that fall of 2018, she was able to try a voice output device with the support of her speech therapist at Fraser at the time. And they saw some glimmers of hope there, and she was really interested in it. And so she was fortunate to receive her official WeGo in November of 2018. And so it was interesting though, because then all of a sudden we went from gaga to having words. Her first WeGo words were music and drink and eat and yogurt and chicken and water, juice, all the family members, the dogs, all kinds of stuff. So she was loving having more meaning and more output option. So this is a little video of her telling me that she's got chicken on her plate. We had been talking about what was on her dinner plate, and the WeGo was out at dinner time.
Chicken. You have chicken. Chicken. Looks like there's chicken right there. Are you gonna eat your chicken? You're a goof.
So you can see the child is not lacking for personality. She's got some spunk. But we just had that WeGo out all the time. It was everywhere. So where did we start? Basically, we started by editing the vocabulary to make it personal to us at our house, put in pictures of our family and our dogs, her favorite toys, places we go. I did a lot of editing to make sure that it was relevant to her world. The other thing that I did is I took screenshots of her core pages. And so we had her vocabulary had a nice set of core words, and she had two core pages that I could toggle back and forth with the top buttons in the top right and left corners. So I screenshotted those core pages and laminated them front to back. And we had these laminated core pages all over our house, on the fridge, in the car, on the door to go out to the garage, in her bedroom, bathroom, kind of all over, so that we could pull that out and just model, even if it was one word like go, as we're going out to the car, I could show her where that word was, and we could model that word and just give her a means of output in a way that she was capable. And then what else did we do? It's very overwhelming. You feel like, I have to either model everything all the time, or do I just hand the child this device and say, tell me what you want? It's one extreme or the other. And I'm an all or none thinker. So for me, it was like, we have to model all the time, every time, never stopping. And I very quickly had to challenge those thoughts in my own head and kind of scale it back and just say, okay, modeling one word in this instance is better than modeling nothing at all today. So by doing that, I felt like I could then be successful in modeling for her. And I found it easiest to model when I knew what it was that she wanted, or I knew how she was feeling. So if she was going to the cupboard to get her own graham crackers or her own goldfish crackers, and she, can't reach them, so she's gaga, gaga, everything was gaga, and she's up there kind of pointing and gesturing. I would bring the WeGo around and I would show her where graham crackers were, and I would show her where goldfish was. Whatever the item that I knew she was going for, I would show her in her device so that she could, put those pieces together. And that's where we started. I broke it down by rooms of our house. So we played, or we started in the kitchen because eating and drinking were the most motivating things. And once I felt comfortable modeling lots of things in the kitchen with the eating and the drinking and meals, then we expanded it to playing babies. Then we expanded it to bedtime routine. Then we expanded it to going out. And so I broke it down by rooms of our house as far as where I was modeling. She had access to it all the time, but where my head was focused on, I'm gonna model in these certain scenarios, was kind of broken down in my brain by rooms of our house. And then I didn't feel quite so overwhelmed. I felt like today I'm focused on the kitchen, and that I could do. That makes sense. These pictures were taken in Christmas of 2018, and Leah was telling me how to play with the babies. So she would tell me, feed baby, and then she'd bring the baby to me with the bottle, and so I'd feed the baby. So she was kind of bossing me around there while we were playing babies. And then on the left picture there, she was asking for more chocolate cake from her dad, and very motivating chocolate cake. So a couple tips: familiarize yourself with your vocabulary, the organization of the vocabulary, explore it, make sure that the vocabulary in there is relevant to you and your client or you and your child. You got to have the right words in there or it's going to sit on the shelf. Choose one thing that's motivating for your child and practice modeling that. Maybe pair it with 2 words. So eat goldfish, and just take it slow. Just model that one thing for a couple days before you feel like you need to start modeling something else. Honor those communication attempts regardless of the type. So when Leah was reaching for the graham crackers, gaga, 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 and pointing, I knew what she wanted. I needed to honor her communication attempt. In doing so, then I also showed her another mode of communication by showing her her device and showing her where those items were. And so honor that communication attempt, but then also show them another means of communicating that's going to be more universally understood once they're, real proficient. And then celebrate the little tiny successes, even if it's, yay, I modeled 3 times today in the kitchen, pat on the back, good job. It doesn't have to be all or none. So Leah loved her WeGo so very much. She had a newfound confidence about her, toting around that little thing. And at Fraser, they said it too. She walks with this new little attitude, and it was this thing that just kind of turned the corner for her, in lots of ways. She loved it so much. She was very possessive of it. In her day treatment classroom, she did not want other kids to touch her WeGo, despite them trying. She would yank it away and tuck it into her chest, like, this is mine. At home, everybody at our house knew those were Leah's words, even Big Brother. And she would sleep with it. In fact, she didn't want us to take it to charge it. So we'd have to let her have the WeGo until she fell asleep at night. And then we could sneak into her room and pull it away and charge it. And the first thing she's looking for in the morning was the device. I would hear her and her brother, who he was 4.5 at the time, they share a room, and they did then and they still do now. And so they'd be laying in bed next to each other, and you could hear the little a cappella Ella voice going, dinosaur, pterodactyl. And it's like, oh, that Paul's showing her words now, because, all the dinosaur words. And then you'd hear, her little phrases that she's finding, and the little device is just babbling away, and Leah's with her little unintelligible speech while she's trying to show Paul something, or he's showing her something. And so those two, their little interactions at bedtime, I think, were both my husband and my favorite times of listening to that little WeGo chat. It was pretty sweet. So one night I go in to take the device to charge it, and this is what she had generated in the speech display bar. Good night, yes, pray. Yes, 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 thank you. It was so sweet. And yeah, that picture right there of her all conked out, that's what was in her speech display bar. So a couple more tips. Show excitement for the device. This device in our house was never, ever work. She would have pushed it away and never wanted anything to do with it, had it been this testing tool, or had it been this thing where you have to use this to tell me what you want. It was never that way. We made sure that from the moment it came through the door, it was fun, it was hers, and it was exciting. And that really set the tone and the pace for her to love it. It was always a very positive communication opportunity for her versus work. Allow time for babbling and exploring. You know, like I said, those moments in the evening when they were laying in their bed and she's just babbling and finding folder after folder and word after word and just exploring. I think those were probably some of the most valuable times to her. And I'd hear her push the same button 25 times. But amazingly then, well, I'll get to it in a second, but some of the words I would hear her push 25,000 times were some of her first verbal words also. Teach everybody on the care team to be a modeler, even Big Brother. So her 4.5-year-old brother would say, "Oh, Leah, can I show you?" And then he'd show her something in there that he was thinking about or talking about or they were playing with. Depending on her mood, she would let it. Encourage that personal ownership of the device, and then teach the child or the client to charge it, turn it on, turn it off, and care for it if they're able to their best ability. So we still, up to this point, had Gaga. And I'm trying to think if this was probably about 2.5 to 3 months into having her device. Like I said, I changed some of the phrases to be, I really personalized it and customized it. So part of that for me and for our house was to change some of the buttons so their voice output was very simple. So she had the best chance of giving a verbal imitation of that when her brain was ready. So the I love you button actually would only say love you. The output was just love you instead of I love you, trying to shorten the syllables. And then the potty used to say, I have to go to the bathroom. So I shortened that one down too to just be potty. Because a child with suspected childhood apraxia of speech is not going to spew out, I have to go to the bathroom. But potty, there might be a chance that could come out. So kind of took that into consideration when I was making those buttons say what we wanted them to say. So all of a sudden, about 3 months in, 2.5 months in, something to having it all the time at our house, she goes up to the device on the coffee table and goes into her phrases and pushes potty and runs to the bathroom and sits on the toilet and then runs back to me. And she didn't do anything, but she knew that she was talking about the potty. And she comes back after she'd run to the bathroom and sat down and come back. She pushes it again, and then her mouth said potty. That was my daughter's first word that never disappeared, was from her Wego, potty. So it was a huge day. I remember looking across the room at my husband saying, "Did you just hear what she just did? She said potty." And it's one of those moments that's forever ingrained in my brain. I'll never forget it. Because we'd heard some words, like I said earlier, but they would be gone. And potty came that day and it never left. She never lost potty. That verbal production stayed. So that was super cool. And that was kind of I would say that day was a turning point for Leah, with her attempting to say what the device was saying. And it just kept, snowballing from there, and we'd hear more and more attempts and more verbal attempts after the Wego would say whatever it was she was wanting it to say. So this video here, you'll see her exploring some of the songs, and she's kind of telling me what songs to sing. And this is a perfect video of how you can assign meaning to what it is that they're producing with the device. Even if you know that's maybe not what they meant, you can still, help them learn the meaning behind what it was they just produced. So and it's not perfect because nobody's perfect, including me. So here we go.
5 little ducks that I once knew
Fat ones, skinny ones, fair ones too. But the one little duck with the feather on his back, he led the others with the quack, quack, quack. Quack.
5 little ducks.
Is that the duck song? I love it.
Jesus loves me.
This I know. For
Itsy bitsy spider.
the itsy bitsy spider. Spider. The itsy bitsy spider.
Baby shark.
Do you know Baby Shark?
5 little monkeys.
Monkeys, that's right. 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor and the doctor said, no more monkeys.
We are the dinosaurs.
We are the dinosaurs marching, marching. We are the dinosaurs. What do you think of that?
Cha-cha slide.
Cha-cha slide. That's the one that you dance to, isn't it? That's when Leah dances.
Old MacDonald.
Old MacDonald had a farm.
5 little ducks.
5 little ducks that I once knew. Fat ones, skinny ones, fair ones too.
So you can see there in that video that initially she tries to sing Jesus Loves Me and I don't get it. So then she pushed Jesus Loves Me on the device and then tried to sing it herself. But these were fun, fun days to just let her explore and kind of tell me what she's wanting with that device. And I'm trying to assign meaning to what she's pushing, regardless of whether it's a song I can sing or not, like Cha-Cha Slide. It was one of her favorites to dance to while we make dinner, but I don't know how to sing Cha-Cha Slide. So trying to, help her put the pieces together. And her pajamas are on backwards for a very good reason. If any of you have children with sensory issues, they love to dig in their diapers. So Leah wears backwards pajamas still to this day. It's marvelous. So here's a couple more tips. Attach that meaning, attach the intent to the child's productions with the device. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. When you're modeling or when you're assigning meaning or when you're verbally commenting about something, don't be afraid of those mistakes. They come, they go. Be patient and be persistent. It really does take time. I think Leah's speed with how quickly she started trying to imitate that device is maybe more of an exception and not the norm. It really was the perfect bridge for her between, our Gaga, only Gaga, to, you could hear her say monkey in the video and duck and baby shark, and, some of those things started to come after we got that device. But it was a lot of, she was really exposed to it a lot. And we've all heard this quote by Jane Corsten where, the average 18-month-old is exposed to 4,380 hours of oral language. And for a child with a communication system, they would need to have 84 years of 20 to 30-minute therapy sessions. So 2 times a week. So it's really a matter of just keeping that always available. Exposure, exposure, exposure. So this was a fun day. I took a picture of this page because this was another day that kind of stands out in my head as a fun time. So we had family skills sessions with Fraser. When child goes to day treatment there, they meet with you, I think it was once a week or once every 2 weeks or whatever, to chat with parents and, keep everybody on the same page. And we would get these real positive reports about how Leah was using her WeGo in day treatment and how she's, possessive of it and loves it and all that. And one day a child had taken a toy from Leah and she started to sob and she was bawling, and she turns to her WeGo and she tells the staff, she finds her feelings and tells them that I feel sad while she's bawling. And the staff said it was just the sweetest moment. She, they gave her a hug and she felt better, and she could actually express to them what she was feeling for the first time. And the empowerment that comes with that for her, I just can't even imagine. Another fun day was, I was driving her to Fraser, and so she was in her car seat, and she was rear facing still at the time. And so she had her little device on her lap while we were driving, and I could hear from the back seat, "Go Fraser," in the little Ella voice. And then I said, "Yeah, we are going to Fraser, Leah. That's right. That's where we go. Go Fraser." I'm doing my mom talk. And then the next thing I hear is, "I want drink water," from Ella, the a cappella voice. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, okay, you need some water. Quick, find the girl some water. So I hand her a little water bottle behind me, and she drinks it up. And then she had this sign for drink. It was She would do this and say and that was drink. So her Wego said from the back seat, "I want drink water." And then she goes, did her little drink. I hand her water. She chugs it down. And we did not have one meltdown on the way to Fraser that day. We were communicating. She could tell me what she wanted, what she needed, and those comments that she had to say about our trip. And she didn't cry at all on our way to Fraser. It was a very, very nice day. So a couple more tips here. Model, model, model. But don't overwhelm yourself. Like I said earlier, kind of break it down by rooms of your house or activities that your child likes. Start with the motivating items. Don't underestimate your child's ability or their knowledge. So don't underestimate any client's abilities or knowledge. It's just kind of a general rule of thumb, but I think for me as a mom, I was guilty of that. I was guilty of thinking there was less there, that she had less to offer than she did, which, I mean, mom guilt here, right? Major. But once she had a means to tell me some of the things she thought and felt and knew, it opened up she taught me more than I can ever teach her. And that is just truth. So keep that device programming current and relevant, so they do have the words that they need, that they want at their fingertips. And don't use the device to test. Like I said, it was never test, it was never work at our house. It was strictly this tool for positive communication, and you don't want it to be a test. So yeah, the more positive excitement that's around it, the better. This is Leah telling us who was here and who was not here. So our cousins had come to visit. And so she's going to tell us who's here to see us and who's in the other one then who's not here.
Sarah. Auntie Sarah.
Sarah.
Auntie Sarah. I love you. There she is. Bye. We'll see ya.
I think that's the only people that are here.
Great Papa.
Great Papa's not here. No.
Alice.
Alan's not here. Oops, try again. Only one finger.
Abigail.
Abigail's here. Abigail's here.
So that was Abigail that was next to her, helping her, try to get her. Did you see how she would prompt and cue herself to stabilize her own little wrist with her other hand to get that finger in there? So one day, this is another day that kind of stands out and was fun for me as her mom, we were on our way to Fraser again, and she was holding a big old juicy apple, and she was eating on her apple. And the Wego says, she pushes on the Wego, she says, I feel thirsty. And I said, oh, well, let's find you something to drink. What do you want to drink? So she goes to her drinks and she told me that she wanted to drink juice. And I said, well, I don't have any juice, Leah, which could have been catastrophic, but I said, no, we don't have any juice. You have to pick something else. And so then she chose milk. And then I gave her a drink of milk and she drank it all down. And then she pushed apple. And then she said, eat apple. And as she's taking a bite and eating her apple, and she just had this huge Leah smile on her face. Apple, eat apple. Takes a bite and goes, hee, laughed at me. It was pretty funny. So Leah had, so like I said, we started with the high-tech, version of our journey in November of 2018. And so by July of 2019, she had the opportunity to attend a little vacation Bible school. And so she had her helpers there and, they were super great with her. And the reason I show you this video is just to show you kind of how her verbal skills progressed in that, what was it, like 8-9 months of time, where we went from gaga. And then our first word that didn't disappear was potty from her imitating her device. And then to the summer where she got out of the bathtub here and she started saying the little theme for the Vacation Bible School verbally. And she just came out with it. She says, God is good. And then she says, our God is good. And for her to even put all of those words together and motor plan all of that and have that verbal production was just such a cool day. I grabbed my phone and I tried to make her do it again so I could record it. So this is her second round of saying this after I snagged my camera.
That is good. That is good.
It is good.
God is good.
God is good.
That's Joey.
That is Joey. Do you have new words?
New words.
God is good.
God is good.
So that is my Leah. And it was a really, kind of an incredible journey at our house. Overwhelming at times, but so worth it. And, not every child who gets a communication device is going to progress to that verbal communicator, but there are so many that really can and do as well. I hear it all the time in my work from parents. Well, is this going to prevent them from talking? Is this going to make them not talk or not want to talk? And, one thing I always say is they're going to choose the path of least resistance. So if was her best shot and path of least resistance for telling me she needed a drink, that's what she's going to do. Go get it yourself and yank it out of the cupboard. That's what they're going to do. So this, for a while, her device was her path of least resistance. It's where she was effective. It's what people understood. It's where she felt empowered. So she used her device. But she also then, it allowed her the bridge to start imitating what she was hearing. She could see what she was pushing. She could see apple. She could hear apple. She could see the spelling of apple. And she could push it 20,000 times to let her little brain process that apple. And then, now she verbally says apple just fine. So I always encourage parents, it's certainly not it's certainly not magic, and it's certainly not a for sure thing, but it definitely won't hurt to have that access mode and that access method available. This is her WeGo. We chose the ladybug skin for her because she's our little ladybug. So it's got the cute little butterflies and bugs on it, and it fits her perfectly. Now she's 4 years, what is she now? 4 years, 8 months, 9 months, something like that. And so she is fully verbal. In fact, she has a lot of repetitive phrases that she uses. She's now been diagnosed with autism and epilepsy and a genetic disorder. And we've got another round of genetic testing at the lab right now, actually. So we might have some new news at the beginning of July. But it has been just an incredible journey with her. And now her WeGo, she's a very visual learner, very, very visual learner. And so her WeGo provides the perfect visual support for her to learn things like colors, learn things like the letters of her name. These are all things that we're really trying hard to help her learn. And so having that visual model to show her, oh, your shirt's purple, and we push purple, and she can see purple, and she can hear purple, and she sees her shirt purple, and she says purple, and, you know, connecting all those dots. So it's been just a huge gift at our house. If anybody would like to chat some more about Miss Leah or has any questions, I am available at Naomi at talktometechnologies.com. And I think there's our website right down there at the bottom, talktometechnologies.com. And my email is just naomi at talktometechnologies.com. So I would be happy to chat with you a little bit more if you ever wanted to learn more about our story, or, like I said, helping you kind of through that process and what that looks like. So thank you so much for letting me be a part of AAC in the Cloud.
Naomi, thanks so much for being here and for sharing your personal experience and your professional experience. It's kind of a unique arena that you get to come from when you have both sides of that together. So thank you for sharing that. We wish you and Leah all the best. She's adorable. Thanks for sharing her with us. And thank you everyone who has attended this session. If you would like to continue on and watch some additional sessions, we'd love to have you. The full conference will be held on June 23rd and 24th, and we hope we will see you there. And thanks for being part of AAC in the Cloud. Have a great day.